So the next question up says, I've been dealing with a high fever and a throat infection, and I might skip this week's deload. I only did my squats and bench, and I'm not sure about my deadlifts. I'm 3 weeks out from a meet. How should I come back to training? I'm worried I might lose some of my progress once I come back to an intensity block. This is definitely less than ideal, but try not to panic because we really don't know what might happen. This could work out well for you. It might not. There's just no way to tell at this point. So what I would recommend for you to do is kind of what I recommended in the other video for this week's call is, let's say that you're able to return to training and you're 3 weeks out, okay? 3 training weeks, I should say. Although if it's 3 actual weeks, we'll go over that scenario in a second. But let's say that you have 3 training weeks. In the first training week back, I would recommend that you add 2 reps to all of your working sets. If the working set is requiring something that you feel a little bit uncomfortable with, like say it's requiring a heavy double or a heavy triple, and you don't feel like you're adequately prepared for that, especially since you're just coming off of a sickness, conceivably you've lost some weight, and you haven't trained and you're still not feeling that great, like all that stuff in mind, it's asking you to do whatever, and you don't feel comfortable with it. You're not excited about going in there and attacking it, then add 2 reps. So if it's asking you for a triple, then do a set of 5. Like change all the reps for all the sets. So if it's asking you to do triples, then you would do 5s instead. In the following week, add 1 rep. So if the following week was asking for triples, you would do 4 instead. And then in that 3rd week, you would be back to your normal training routine. The other scenario that you could do if you only had 2 training weeks is just to do the first 2 segments of that. The first week you would add 2 reps, the second week you would add 1 rep, and then the 3rd week is conceivably your taper. If you want to only add 1 rep that first week instead of 2, that's fine. I won't disagree with you on that, because if it's a protocol that you feel like you can get in there and attack, and even if it goes not that great, it's still not going to affect you too negatively, like psychologically, then go for it. This is I wish I could give you an answer that's like, this is the right thing to do, but so much of it is going to depend on your psychological state. How do you feel approaching these weights? How are you going to feel if it goes well? How are you going to feel if it doesn't go well? And trying to make the best choice in that type of scenario. Okay? I don't want you to feel like this is the end of the world or that you have to withdraw from the meet. You really don't know yet. Okay? Quick story, and I hope I'm not dragging this out too long. In 2012, I was training for a competition. A friend of mine was setting up just a small local competition in Florida. I was going to be in town visiting him, and he asked me if I would do the meet. And I said, sure. So I was training for it. I was going to take it seriously, but it wasn't a major competition. It wasn't something I was going to try to peak really big for. I was just training. And about 3 weeks out from that meet, I believe it was about 2 or 3 weeks out from the meet. I need to tell this story more often, I guess. I was training, setting up for a deadlift, and I felt something pop in my back. I knew immediately that I'd hurt myself. I'd had this injury a couple times before, so I knew that, this is not going to be real fun, and it's going to get stiff. And so it did. And the next day, I got on a plane and flew to California. I was scheduled to do a seminar out there, and that's where I met Dr. Quinn Henoch for the first time. And he looked at me and was like, yep, you strained something in your back. It's just going to take some time before it starts to feel better. But you should start moving. You should start doing pain-free movements and things like that. So I did. The rest of that week was basically not much training. It was trying to do some things that didn't hurt, trying to find pain-free movements and whatnot. The following week, I was feeling good enough to more or less return to training, But by now I've been injured. I hadn't trained in over a week, and I was just kind of, not feeling that great about things. So what I did is I kind of scrapped my normal peaking and tapering routine and added more reps, just like what I'm telling you to do now. And I trained into that competition. I showed up at the meet, and my squat went normally. My bench went about how it usually does. And then we came into the deadlift, and my opener went well. So we put the planned second attempt on the bar, and that went well. And we're thinking like, hey, doesn't seem too bad, So we put the planned third attempt on the bar, and I'm thinking, at this point, like I'm not even thinking about my injury anymore. I feel like I'm back. I've squatted. I've done 2 deadlift attempts already. I'm mentally I'm fine. But I was thinking like, gosh, that third deadlift attempt is like 2.5 kilos under my previous PR. So I talked to my handler. I was like, you think that's dumb? And we decided to change the attempt to go for a PR deadlift on my third attempt. And I went out there and I pulled it, and it was 843 pounds. And that's the best deadlift that I've ever done in my life. And that was 2 weeks post-injury with messed up taper and with a messed up, like all this stuff. The reason I'm telling you all this is just to say that we don't know what might happen. Okay, so do what you're comfortable with. We just won't know until you get in there and start lifting again. And we won't really know until after the meet. So good luck, and let me know if you have any other questions.